संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. My salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, who descended on this earth to establish the Dharma, who is the embodiment of all the world religions, and who is the best among the incarnations. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, it is indeed a great occasion for all of us to recall the message of our Master. So probably keeping the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the sublime teachings, 2 or 3 points I will take, and today I would like to discuss. And we all know that. How did we get this Gospel of Ramakrishna, the teachings? It is by his own disciple, Mahendranath Gupta, R.M., in the short form. So whenever he went, he had a photographic memory. He used to remember whatever he used to hear. He used to come and he used to make notes of it, because he had a habit of diary. Then after Sri Ramakrishna's passing away, after even passing away a few years, he sat and he meditated every day on every word. And as Sri Ramakrishna used to speak, because we know that he comes from a rural background, Kamarpukur, so it was a colloquial Bengali, not the Bengali which they used to speak in Calcutta, the so-called graduates. So even in that colloquial Bengali, Master Mahashay, our master, is able to write because he wanted to write the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna as it is, not to put his way of understanding or whatever. This we all know that. And he took 32 years to complete the Gospel of Ramakrishna, which today we have got. Means he used to meditate, and every sentence, every word, when it got complete, when it got clarity that it is Sri Ramakrishna's words, then he used to put on the paper. That's why it took 32 years. That means he meditated on Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna's teachings, Gospel of Truth. So that's why he became a Brahmagnani, the knower of Brahman. Now, if whoever has studied the Gospel and the life of Ramakrishna and as well as life of Mahendranath Gupta in detail, you will be knowing. When the Master Mahashay, or the Master when he came, that is Mahendranath Gupta, when he came to see Sri Ramakrishna, what was his mindset? His mind was tormented by the worldly problems, worldly afflictions. As a result, he was in depression. His mind was in depression, so much so that though he was a graduate, postgraduate, and he was a rank student, he was a gold medalist and all, but he wanted to suicide. He wanted to end his life. So with the depressed mind, suicidal mindset, the Mahendranath Gupta, accidentally, he came to Sri Ramakrishna. And 1 or 2 or 3 meetings with Sri Ramakrishna, it changed the mindset of Mahendranath Gupta, and he started pursuing his life and as well as spiritual path. Knowingly or unknowingly, silently, that the state of depression and the suicidal mindset was evaporated or was nullified, cleared by the Mahendranath Gupta, by the holy company of Sri Ramakrishna, or by the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. This itself is the wonderful testimony for the Gospel of Ramakrishna, or the Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. Because we are all pragmatic thinkers. We all think, knowingly or unknowingly, or our mind thinks. Okay, by reading Sri Ramakrishna's teachings, by reading Vedanta, by reading the teachings of any science, or Gita or Upanishads, what am I going to get? How am I getting benefited? Will my bank balance become better? Or do I get promotion in my job, or what? So this question will come in our mind. For that, Mahendranath Gupta's life is a beautiful answer for all of us. We can become a better human being. Our emotional ability will be increased. Our discrimination power gets increased, provided we put into practice. Our understanding about the God, our understanding about the world, our understanding about one's own self, and what is reality, what is truth, everything becomes better. One more glaring example which we see there is Girish Chandra Ghosh. Again, he was a Bengal laureate. In those days, he was very famous. He had a star theater and used to enact. Even one good skills we have got, we all feel very proud. And he was a good actor. He was a good dramatist. He was a good composer. He used to compose dramas himself. And he was a great poet also. So basically, he was a in the language or in the arts, he was a famous person in those days. So he earned money, he lost money, no doubt. And not only that, he was a chain smoker probably, and he was also a drunkard. As himself says, proclaims that the amount of wine I had, one after another, if the bottles, if I place one above the other, it surpasses the height of the Mount Everest. Means so much drinking, alcohol consumption he has done. Now, such and such a person, again, when he came into contact with Sri Ramakrishna, what happened? Now, all of a sudden, it didn't happen, no doubt. Gradually, he became Sattvic person. From tamasic personality, he became Sattvic person. He became one of the greatest devotee. So much so that because of him, the Kalpataru, on January 1st, Kalpataru Ramakrishna, we all observe, we all celebrate. The Kalpataru, Sri Ramakrishna took the role of the Kalpataru. Why? Because of the Girish Chandra Ghosh's sincerity and unflinching devotion. And there are so many apostles, direct disciples' life we can see, householder disciples' life we can see. But at least these two examples we can take and we can understand how beautiful and how sublime the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. If we can understand and if we can put into practice, we can become better human being. We can be peaceful, blissful at the given circumstances. Again, at the given circumstances is in double quotes. Why? Because we are always busy in changing people, changing situations. I always think, oh, if my wife behaves like this in such and such a manner, I will be happy, I can be happy. And she thinks, my husband behaves in such and such a way. His character, his nature changes because of whatever reason, then I can be happy. Same thing with parents and children, with the colleagues, with the neighbors, with the society, with the so many things. We are all busy in changing, expecting changes outside, but not inside. When you read Gospel of Ramakrishna, you will understand that the change should come from within. Now, we also understand or we think that how can I live happily, peacefully, blissfully in this world? Now, whether I want or not, whether I like it or not, whether I accept or not, the world is with full of dualities. Good and bad, right and wrong, happiness, unhappiness, these things are bound to come and bound to go. But Sri Ramakrishna didn't, what do you say, didn't reject the world in a negative sense, in an inferior way. Oh, this world is full of problems. Better to get away from this. He didn't think, or he didn't give the teachings. Rather, he said, if you are in the world, no problem, but the worldliness should not be in your mind. What a simple, profound statement for all of our lives. He gives an example. If the boat in the water, if the boat is in the water, there is no problem. Boat has to be in the water. But if the water enters the boat, then there is a problem. Slowly boat sinks. So giving this example, Sri Ramakrishna tells, if we live in the world, no problem. But if the worldliness is in our mind, then only problem. What is this worldliness? Kamini Kanchana, he says, are the best in a generic way. If you ask me, that is the worldliness means attached to the world and its objects, attached to the sense pleasures, attached to one's own body and mind. This can be termed roughly as worldliness. And because of this worldliness which exists in our mind, we are suffering, we are morose, we are unhappy. So by changing the world, one cannot be happy. One can never do that because the world is a dog style, as Swami Vivekananda beautifully puts in his Karma Yoga lecture. Then what to do? Remove this worldliness. Remove this worldliness, worldly mindedness, then I can be happy. That is what the spiritual path is. I am trying to do japa. I am trying to do meditation. We are all trying to attend such satsangs, holy gatherings. And we are trying to study scriptures and all. Why? To remove this worldliness or worldly mindedness. Means attached to body and mind, attached to world and its objects. Okay, this is what our problem. This is what the root problem. Then how to remove this? Sri Ramakrishna himself gives again very practical examples, which looks very simple, but they are very sublime, or their depth, they are very deep in their nature. So for this, two methods he has given. It is like a two wings of a bird or a two sides of a coin. What are these two practices Sri Ramakrishna has given to all of us? How can we get rid of this worldliness? How can we remove this? How can we change our worldly mindedness to spiritual mindedness? First and foremost, he says, hold on to the God or the love the God. You can say God, self, consciousness, supreme self, supreme consciousness, or Ishvara, Shiva, Allah, Ramakrishna, Jesus. You can take any name, or you need not to have any name even for that matter. Almighty even you can take it. So hold on to him, love him, attach to him. To make this, he gives a simple example of a pillar, holding a pillar and going round around that. I don't know in the West whether this happens or not. In India, when we were small, we used to play this. Holding on to the pillar and we used to go round, rotate around the pillar. Sometimes we used to touch each other. In that way, we used to play. The moment till we are holding the pillar tightly intact, then there is no fear of falling. The moment if I lose my hand or if I leave the hand from the pillar, then there is a chance of falling. So holding onto the pillar is very important to balance myself. So similarly, Sri Ramakrishna says, hold on to the God in one hand, in other hand, you work. You do all your duties, responsibilities, which is very, very pragmatic and practical solution, which has been given by Sri Ramakrishna. So love the God, and at the same time, if you want to live in the world, whether you are a monk or a householder or a bachelor or a whatever, you can do. Whether you are a doctor or an engineer or a CEO of a company or a just employee or what businessman, whatever, you can do all your duties, discharge your responsibilities. But there, hold on to the God. In one hand and in one hand, you can work. Then you will be able to work and you will be able to lead the happy life. So Sri Ramakrishna didn't tell for common people or for everyone to leave the world, to renounce the world. He only said, renounce the worldly mindedness. And how to renounce the worldly mindedness? The first and foremost, hold on to the God in one hand, in other hand, keep working. Okay, we understand. Now, how to put into practice? How to put into practice, japa, our meditation, our studies. So spiritual practices. By doing spiritual practices, to start with, okay, morning 10-15 minutes or half an hour I will try to do. Evening maybe 10-15 minutes, half an hour I do. And rest of the time, most of the time I forget the God. Probably many of us, our religion, our spiritual practices, that's how it starts. Then slowly, it has to be extended. Pashan, Shunvan, Spushan, Gachan, Swapan, Shvasan, Pralapan, Visujan, Grunhan, Unmishan, Nimishan Napi, Indriyan, Indriyartheshu, Varthanta iti dharayan. The yogi thinks while eating, sleeping, drinking, chatting, and all, the senses are coming into contact with sense objects and they are doing, but I am not the doer. This is from the Jnana point of view, or from the Bhakta point of view. Everything is done by God, so I am his instrument. So while washing the clothes or putting the clothes into washing machine, I can remember God. I can do repeat the Lord's name. I'm doing hoovering. I can repeat. I'm bathing, cycling, walking, driving. So I can remember the Lord. I can hum some bhajans or singing. I can repeat the Lord's name. Or I can imagine about some incidents about his life. Of course, while driving, you have to be careful. Otherwise, you can meet with an accident. So be careful. Don't tell that afterwards. Oh, Swamiji told us to think about Lord, and I was thinking, and then I met with an accident. So one has to be careful, but so that's how one can increase this God dependence life or love towards the God. That is what devotion. What is devotion? Narada tells beautifully in his sutras, Parama Prema Swarupa. The devotion or bhakti means Parama Prema, supreme love. I love my mother, I love my father, love my children, love things, and isn't it? When that is a materialistic love, worldly love. When that is turned towards the God, I mean, though it is not exactly, but for understanding sake, we can tell that in that way. So if you turn towards that God, towards the God, then what happens? That is called bhakti or supreme love. So the more and more you love God, the more and more you attach yourself to the God, to the higher values, higher things, higher ideas, or to the Almighty, then slowly, your dependency on the world or the worldliness reduces. That is what inversely proportional. Again, the same idea has been given by Sri Ramakrishna in a beautiful way, simple way. A person, when he's traveling towards east direction, the west direction gets far automatically. Oh, west direction, go away, go away. I need not to tell. When I'm walking towards eastern direction, the west direction goes back automatically. So when I'm moving towards the God by my different spiritual practices, then what tapas, what are control of the mind and sense organs and what meditation and all, what happens? Then our worldliness, worldly mindedness gets reduced. So we all, probably most of you are initiated and you have got the book also, Upasana. You might have read, you might have remember all the methods, methodology or the steps you might be following. The Upasana consists 3 steps primarily. One is japa. We all know that repetition of the Lord's name. Then meditation on the Lord's form. There are different type of meditation, but here Rupa Dhyana, which generally our gurus tell. So meditation on the form and repeating the Lord's name. And not only that, along with that, we should develop the bhava, which is very, very important. Japa, dhyana, bhava. All these 3 things should be included. Then only it is called upasana. Japa means repetition of the Lord's name. Japa means meditation, means trying to concentrate and trying to meditate on the Lord's form, beautiful form. And bhava means what? Mood or relationship. I am sitting and I am meditating on Sri Ramakrishna or any God, whichever we have taken as our chosen deity. What is the relationship between me and him? I can take as a son, is the father and I am the son, or is the mother and I am the son or the daughter, or I am the servant of him. So one bhava, one mood has to be established. That brings the quality of the meditation, quality of the japa better. So these 3 things should be included in the upasana. So this is what spiritual practice. The more and more you do spiritual practice, the worldliness or the worldly mindedness, or in Swamiji's language, Swami Vivekananda's language, the selfishness reduces. So this is the one part of the spiritual life Sri Ramakrishna has told. Now, one more thing importantly, we all try to do meditation, we all try to do japa, we all try to control our mind and do some spiritual practices in possible way. Some of the time we are doing, we are capable of doing, sometimes we are not able to. Regularity is missing, consistency is missing. Oh, that should not happen. We all know that, but we are not able to do. We know what we are supposed to do, and also we know what we are supposed to avoid, but both we are not able to do. Why? Because many times we are not enjoying the struggle, which is a very common thing in us. Reaching goal, somewhat we have got idea. Reaching the goal, we all obsessed with that, we all desire for it, we want it. But to reach the goal, to reach the Mount Everest, I have to take the tedious path. isn't it? So similarly, if I go to the Alps mountains in the Switzerland, so the path is not very easy all the while. The path can be difficult, challenging, but one should enjoy it. Then the climbing and the mountaineering will not be a difficult thing. So we should also start enjoying the spiritual struggles. I am trying to sit for meditation. I am trying to control my mind, but I am not able to. Okay, let me try. Let me try. That whatever that intense struggle sometimes will be there, so-called suffering we say. So intense struggle or suffering that we should start enjoying. We should start experiencing it. That's okay to have a highest goal, highest good. So these struggles are necessary. And for that, Sri Ramakrishna himself has gives a beautiful example from Purana. A spiritual aspirant, he had left his home and earth and he was in the forest and he was meditating. One fine day he came out and he saw Narada Maharshi. He was just passing by. He went, he approached him, he paid his respects and said, "Sir, I'm so blessed to see you. From where are you coming?" He said, "Oh, I have come from Vaikunta on some work, and again I'll be going to Vaikunta." "Where are you going?" "I finish my work in this earth planet, and again I go to the abode of Lord Vishnu, which is Vaikunta." "Oh, you are going to again Vaikunta?" Narada says, "Yes." Then the aspirant, spiritual aspirant, he says, "Sir, can you do me a favor? Help." Narada said, "Please, go ahead. What do you want?" "When you go and meet Lord Narayana, can you ask, when will I get moksha? When will I get mukti?" Narada said, "Okay, my dear, I shall ask, and whatever he says, I shall convey to you whenever I come back, whenever I come this path." He said, "Thank you, sir." Then again, he met one or two aspirants in the forest. Most of them asked similar question. All of them were promised by Narada, "Okay, I shall do that." Then after a few months or whatever, then Narada was coming back in the same route for some work again. The first aspirant met him and asked, "Sir, did you ask Narayana?" He said, Narada said, "Yes, my dear, I did ask Narayana." "Okay, sir, what was his reply?" He said, "My dear, two, three, births you need to do, you have to continue your spiritual practices for 2 or 3 more births, then you will get mukti, it seems." Immediately said, "What? I left my home and earth. I left my enjoying the world and its objects, sense pleasures and sense gratification to attain the Lord. And still 2 or 3 more life I have to do all these things. Till then I don't get God. Then what is the use of doing all these things?" He said, "Okay, then I will go and enjoy the world. After maybe next or 2 or 3 births, then I will come so that anyway I will get it." And he went back. So here we have to understand means that aspirant, though he was doing meditation, spiritual practice, spiritual struggles, he was not enjoying his spiritual practices. He was taken as a cumbersome boredom or whatever. That is the reason he was not able to go progress in spiritual life. Many times it happens with us. We have to be a bit careful about it. Then the last spiritual aspirant, when Narada, when he saw Narada, again he paid respects and said, "Sir, did you ask Lord Narayana?" Narada said, "Yes, my dear, I asked, but I fear to tell the answer." Reply. The aspirant said, "Sir, don't worry, please tell me, go ahead." Narada said, "Please, sorry, I'm very sorry to say this. Please make your heart strong. Please be yourself strong. I'm very sorry to say." That aspirant said, "Never mind, sir. Please tell the answer." Or Narayana's reply. That fellow was sitting on the tamarind tree and he was doing his meditation, spiritual practices. And whoever has seen tamarind tree, you know that it has got a n number of leaves. Small, small, very tiny, small, small leaves. It can be few thousands or maybe a half million or whatever. He learned, Narada showed that, "No, do you know this tamarind tree?" He said, "Yes, sir. There are so many leaves, isn't it?" "Yes, sir. So many births you should have, it seems. Then you will get Lord Narayana." Imagine if you would have a little weak heart, you would have heartbroken, you would have a cardiac arrest probably, or you would have shouted or whatever. But instead of that, interestingly, he said, "Oh, is it so? After so many lives, I get a Lord Narayana. That is beautiful. Thank God." And again, he continues his spiritual practices, doing a japa or bhajan. And in no time, Lord Narayana appears to him. And they would say, "Oh, what? So many lives I have to take a n number of lives you said, it seems, and now all of a sudden you came." Narayana said, "Yes, I was testing you." Then he had a vision of Lord Narayana. Now the important is in the first the former case, he was suffering, he was struggling, and he was taken as a cumbersome boredom spiritual practice. Whereas in the latter case, he was enjoying his spiritual struggle. So many births even he had to take, he was never bothered. He continued his spiritual practice. So we should start enjoying the spiritual practices. Then the quality of life gets better, quality of spiritual practices becomes better. This is the first point, which is very important for all of us. The more and more we move towards the Lord, God, then the worldliness gets decreased, or from the worldly mindedness, we get away. And this is what Abhyasa in Patanjali Yoga Sutra or in the Bhagavad Gita as told by Patanjali or Krishna. Now, the one more important point, or the other part, other wing is very important, which we are all living in the world, is that detachment. Nirliptate, nirliptata in Sanskrit, if you say. So the same idea that you live like the housemaid. Sri Ramakrishna told all of these stories, you know, whoever has read the Gospel of Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna asked us to live like the housemaid. What is the housemaid? If in the aristocratic family houses or in the very big houses where the housemaids stay there dawn to dusk and they take care of the family, starting from bathing the child or kid, cooking, serving, cleaning vessels, cleaning the house and all. And they will have some either in the basement or in the behind there will be small rooms. There these workers will be staying. So most of the time they stay with the family of their owners, and once in a while they go to their houses which are in the poor areas, poor people. They go and they give some money and food, whatever is possible, and they come back, which we all know that. But when these housemates, when they stay for a long time with the owners, slowly, sometimes they also get emotionally little so-called attached. And something happens good in their family, even these housemates also feel like enjoying and they also feel happy as if it is their family. And something happens bad in the owner's family, they also start feeling crying, morose and all, as if it happened to their family. We all know that. But in their heart of heart, they know that I am only the worker here. My family is in that particular village or in the particular place, in the thatched dirt or in the poor way. So I am working for them. Still, I am working for them. They are paying here. These people belong to me or I belong to them. Otherwise, nothing else. So Sri Ramakrishna gives this example and he says, you may live in the world. You may have all the relationships. You may, what you say, you may look after them. You do all your duties, but you should be detached internally. External detachment and internal detachment is for a monk. For the householders, external detachment is not possible. You need not to have, but internal detachment should be there. So one side, holding on to God in one hand and do all the family responsibilities, discharge your responsibility, Sri Ramakrishna is saying. One. Second is what? You do all your responsibilities, discharge your responsibilities, take care of the family, take care of the people and all. You love them, never mind. But inside, be detached. This is what important point, one more from Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. So how to live in the world, if you ask. One is attached to God and detached from the world. So you say, the moment you say, Swamiji, yeah, very interesting, very beautiful, very rightly you said, but it is difficult to practice. Yes, maybe difficult to practice, but don't stop there. Instead of putting a stop, put a comma. Difficult, but possible. If you want higher things, so you have to take some higher risk also. So, but possible. Now, how to practice this? Many times we don't have a right understanding between love versus attachment. We should love the people, but we should not attach to people. Sri Ramakrishna himself says once to Maturnath Vishwas, you may love me, but don't attach to me, don't attach to this body, he says. You may love me as a divine, but don't attach to this body. Sri Ramakrishna tells himself to Maturnath Vishwas, imagine. So we should love everyone as the children of God or as the manifestation of the divinity or whatever it may be. But we can love the people, never mind. As a people also you can love, but we need not to be attached. Loving and but not attached. How is it possible? Yes. We suffer why? Because of love. Oh, because I loved him, I loved her, and I helped her or I helped him. That's why I'm suffering. That's why I got cheated. That's how we think. No, it is wrong. Because of love, we don't suffer. Because of attachment, we suffer. So Sri Ramakrishna loved the humankind. That's why he descended on this earth. Holy Mother, she was in the midst of all the madcaps. Radhi, she was a mad again. Surabhala, her mother, again she was one more mad. And Nalini Maku, she had such a narrow-minded people. And her own brothers, they were so self-centered people, like a bedbugs. They wanted money and they want all the things, whatever is possible to grab from the Holy Mother. Such a such a mean-minded people were there in and around Mother, Holy Mother, whom we worship her, Adishakti, Parashakti, Mahashakti, Mahamaya and all. But she lived happily. She lived 100,000 japa every day. And she did all her household works, cooking, cleaning, washing dishes, working, not only cooking for Ramakrishna and herself, and whoever disciples come, devotees come, for all of them she used to cook in the firewood, in that small 10 by 6 or 10 by 8 small Nabat building. But still she says, I was happy. When I was in Dakshineshwar with my husband Sri Ramakrishna, I felt so happy that there was always Amrita Kalsha was there in my heart. I was so blissful when I was living with Ramakrishna, she tells. And physical discomforts were many. That was not even a comfortable life, a basic life, which we are all of her having. But still she was blissful. So, because of the lack of worldly mindedness or the detachment, even in Sri Ramakrishna's life itself, we can see. We all know that from when his adolescent age, probably at 15 or 16 probably, he came from Kamarpukur till 49. So almost like 30, more than 30 years, he lived in Dakshineshwar. How much he lived in the Kamarpukur, his birth village, more than that, almost twice, 2 times more, he lived in Dakshineshwar. We all know that. His major part of his life, sadhana, having different visions, experiences, sannyasa, nirvikalpa samadhi, meeting devotees, his disciples, everything was there. We all know that. But when at the fragment of his life, to take care of him, to give him best medical possibilities, we all know that Sri Ramakrishna was shifted from Dakshineshwar to Kashipur, a farmhouse. We all know that. Now, the last 8-9 months or 10 months or more than that, and years so far roughly, he was there. But if you read in between lines the life of Ramakrishna deeply, if you study, you will understand not even once he remembered Dakshineshwar. He remembered Mother Kali, no doubt, every moment, but he never remembered Dakshineshwar. Once he left, he left. See the complete detachment. Even in the Dakshineshwar, Trailokya, the grandson of Mathurnath Vishwas, he ordered that Hrudayaram should go out because he did some mistake. Then Hruday came and he gave a miscommunication to Sri Ramakrishna. Thakur, both of us should go out, it seems. If anyone would have told for us, we would have, who is the hell to tell for us? That's a point we can question. Or if the owner has been told that you have been fired, then the immediate question comes, where do we go? What will happen to me next moment or future? All these things we tell, which is very common. But Sri Ramakrishna never cared. Oh, is it so? He got up, a small napkin was with him, and he put on his shoulder and he said, come on, Ruday, we shall go. And even he didn't think of whatever the few things he had, he never even thought of packing them. Simply he walked out with the just clothes. And some workers saw and they went and informed Trailokanath. Trailokanath comes running, and by the time Sri Ramakrishna and Hruday had reached the gate, main gate, and he comes and apology and he expresses his apologies. There is a lack of miscommunication. Thakur, I didn't tell you to go. I only told to Hruday. Now there also he didn't scold him. I tell you, are you playing with me? Are you kidding with me? Do you know who am I? Your grandmother or great grandmother, Rasamani, your grandfather, Mathurnath, how much they cared for me, you know? No other statements, none of such statement. He heard, he said, okay, there was a miscommunication, fine. Hruday, oh, it was not for me, it seems. It was only for you, it seems. Okay, you can go. And he said, and he came back without even a single mental modification or a chitta vikara, which you may be knowing. Whoever has studied Sri Ramakrishna's life, we all know that. So how deeply he was practicing the detachment, or how he was detached from this world. He himself says to Mahendranath Gupta once, you know, if this world would have been true for me, I would have covered my birthplace, that is Kamarpukur, with the golden sheet. He felt so much for us. He took our sins and he took so many problems. He listened to us. He helped us. He has nothing to achieve actually. He only descended on this earth to help the mankind. He loved us, but he was never attached. Same thing with Swami Vivekananda. Same with Holy Mother Sharda Devi. Or same with all the great people. So we should also try to practice attachment to God and detachment to the world. If you can practice this, both are inversely proportional. The more and more you detach from the world, you can attach more and more to the God. And the more and more you attach to the God, and you will be able to detach from the world or worldly mindedness. If both are, then the more and more attachment and the more and more detachment has been established in one's life, spiritual practice becomes faster. Spiritual progress will be quicker. Then I can be happy, I can be blissful, I can be joyful at the given circumstances. Again, I'm telling you, terms and conditions apply, are in the double quotes, given circumstances. I can be blissful and happy. So we should try to do our spiritual practices sincerely as much as possible. Try to lead the God-centered life, conscious-centered life, self-centered life. Self means your consciousness-centered life. And you need not to give away the world. You need not to reject the world or reject the world or see the world in an inferior way. That is none of our business, because it is a creation done by Lord. So accept as it is, and but only remove remove this worldly mindedness so that you can be happy at all given point, and we can have the Godward journey so that our life will be blessed. May such holy gatherings, may such gatherings be the testimony and be the reminder for all of us. And may the Master Sri Ramakrishna bless all of us on this auspicious day so that we shall love him more and more, and we shall try to practice detachment from this world, or we shall reduce this worldly mindedness and lead the blissful life or happy life. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.